Today, I want to take a closer look at Nvidia and other semiconductor stocks like Intel that recently announced some pretty cool news or updates. Also, we are seeing some reports of more earthquakes in Taiwan. We're going to take a closer look at that and what could that mean for semiconductor industry right now. So, let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so let's start off with the Taiwan news. We can see that there are more earthquakes hitting Taiwan right now. And actually, throughout the whole day, we've seen that this part of the world has been seeing a lot of seismic activity with aftershocks ever since we had that earthquake on April 3rd. So, magnitudes, the most recent one that I saw was on April 22nd at 8 o'clock at night. And we do see this big Twitter account that focuses on the semiconductor space mentions that TSMC has evacuated workers from fabs in certain locations after measuring that 6.3 magnitude that kind of shook the nation overnight. And again, we did recently have a TSMC earnings, I think about a week ago, and we did hear some of the impact that a earthquake can do for obviously TSMC. And TSMC, they did shut down their plants, but they were able to bring everything back up in just most things up by a few hours, and then everything back up in a few days or so. But the biggest impact is, even though maybe some of their critical tools or EUV machine don't get damaged, what it does get damaged, right? Because the manufacturing of semiconductors is such a precise process. The product that's actually being made gets tossed off. So we can see they did see an impact from earthquake that reduced their second quarter gross margins by about 50 basis point, mainly due to the losses associated with wafer scraps and material lost. So obviously, any earthquake and aftershocks right now can obviously be impacting some of the productions right now, even though their machines might still be okay. So something to keep in mind out right now is nothing completely bearish in my opinion. I hope obviously everybody in Taiwan is safe. And this is something that I think semiconductor investors are going to need to keep listening out for in the upcoming days and these aftershocks continue. This, in my opinion, is another reason why a lot of companies like Intel are going to go to governments and say, hey, listen, you're dependent too much in Taiwan. There's a lot of geopolitical pressure there. What happens if supply chain issues happen again, like COVID? And what happens if Mother Nature just kind of goes bazooka, right? I do believe this is going to create more pressure and more evidence that we do need manufacturing plants all over the world because anything can happen. So again, this is something as semiconductor investors we should keep an eye out. In reality, if we do see something really big here, it's most likely going to be short-term pain opposed to long-term pain, right? So before we go any further, we are now on the road to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you all for the crazy support. So if you haven't and are enjoying the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Finally, if you want to support the channel a little bit more, make sure to check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose. Now back to today's episode. Another big interesting update here is from TSMC again and SK Hynix. For those that are not familiar with SK Hynix, they are a huge designer manufacturer of memory. And right now, one of the most popular memories used in AI chips is HBM. So right now, we really are kind of in the steps of HBM3E, which is kind of an improvement of HBM3. So right now, it seems like SK Hynix on April 19th announced that they are partnering up with TSMC to kind of develop HBM4. And HBM4 is going to be the sixth generation of the HBM family and slated to be mass produced in 2026. So we can see how difficult it is to kind of develop new solutions here in the semiconductor space when a lot of companies need to kind of team up together and work together to be able to build and kind of transform the next generation of memory. So HBM is most likely fueling the race of AI applications, and it will bode well if they do good here, because it means like Nvidia and all these other companies are going to be able to use this updated HBM memory in future chip generations. Maybe not the next one, but the one after that. Now, we did get some interesting reports here. First, we can see that Japan, Sakura, which is a huge internet provider of the Japanese market, and is backed by government subsidies, is reportedly increasing their amount of of GPUs that they're purchasing by roughly fivefold. Now they're aiming to incorporate around 10,000 GPUs, including NVIDIA's latest NVIDIA HGX B200 system introduced in March. So originally, this company was going to get roughly 2,000 units to kind of build some form of AI infrastructure in Japan, clouding solutions. But because of the huge demand seeing and because the government really wanted to grow the AI market in Japan, they're giving subsidies and now they're increasing the amount of GPUs that they're getting to about 10,000 units. Hopefully, they're expecting to get these 10,000 units by the end of March 2028, but I do believe they're most likely going to get them earlier. Japan, for those that are not familiar, is becoming a very big semiconductor space. We have seen a lot of companies like TSMC work with Japan to build manufacturing plants over there. And as we're going to see, right, NVIDIA has actually worked with Japan in general and a lot of Japanese companies to build up their AI solutions or overall technology solutions. Here we can see on March 18th of 2024, NVIDIA powers a supercomputer in Japan for quantum research using 2,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs and plenty of NVIDIA networking solutions. We also see earlier on April 9th that NVIDIA joins a 110 million partnership to help universities teach AI skills. So it does seem like the United States and Japan are kind of working together to help build this AI solution and AI market and AI collaboration. So we can see turning up, and NVIDIA is kind of investing in that as well. Obviously, bodes well for NVIDIA, right? Because if you start to see a lot of these nations build up the AI market, sovereign AI might eventually take hold, and we might see a huge boost in NVIDIA's AI revenue, not just from AI companies, but from AI countries. I just kind of want to give more examples of Japan being a big player here in the AI space. Recently, we heard that Oracle is planning to invest roughly $8 billion in cloud and AI. And there's a lot of other big tech companies and other cloud service providers that are also investing big in Japan for the AI market. So again, all this bodes well, and it kind of just shows that, hey, look, even countries themselves are going to be big players of NVIDIA's AI solution. And on December 4th, right, NVIDIA CEO says that he will try to prioritize Japan for AI processors. I'm pretty sure this is something he says to every government official that, yeah, we got you. We're going to send you as many AI chips as we can. Now, on the bearish side of NVIDIA, there is a semiconductor analyst that believes that right now, one of the biggest bottlenecks in data centers is going to be the amount of energy that's going to be needed just in the next few years, especially as GPUs continue to get power hungry. So, this analyst believes that this is going to be one of the biggest bottlenecks for NVIDIA's and is going to allow competition to come into play. I want to say this. I believe if Nvidia already knows that maybe the power consumption is going to be a huge limiting factor for them. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nvidia in the next few quarters announces either two things. One, GPUs that are crazy in performance but amazing in power efficiency. Two, which I think is more likely the case, that somehow this company has created some form of way to kind of eliminate this bottleneck one way or another, being creating maybe working with other companies to create other form of power alternatives to kind of power these huge data centers. But at the end of the day, I do believe Nvidia knows that, hey, look, this is a bottleneck for me, and I wouldn't be surprised that in the next few quarters, in the next few years, we are going to see somehow Nvidia solve the issue that we're seeing at hand and kind of eliminate that bottleneck for them. Another thing that we are seeing is we are starting earnings season already. Tesla is expected to report tomorrow after the market closes Tuesday, depending on where you're watching. But SAP, a big software company, did announce their earnings today after the market closes. And if we take a closer look at the headlines, it does seem like their cloud revenue is doing really well thanks to the adoption of AI. So obviously, this is kind of just the first evidence that maybe we're going to get some great news in the AI market. We're going to get some great news in the clouding market market as well. So I do have one more thing for you guys. Intel, we can see the stock is sitting at $34 right now. It's definitely taken a beating. Year to date, the stock is down roughly 28%. So the United States Department of Defense selects Intel Foundry for phase 3 of Ramp C. So this is the ability where selected United States customers and creators of obviously important technology can use Intel to manufacture some chips. Right now, with phase 3, it allows them to manufacture product prototypes on Intel 18A process technology. So obviously this bodes well for the future of Intel's foundry. It means that they can acquire more customers here. Now we're going to have to see if they go into the next phase where eventually they're going to be able to manufacture volume production on these types of chips. So this is great news and kind of continues to showcase that the evidence that Intel is definitely moving in the right direction with the foundry space. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.